10 Secrets Behind Friday, 1995. Secret 1. Friday was made to show the hood differently. Before Friday, many Hollywood movies about South Central Los Angeles focused on fear, gangs, shootings, and tragedy. Films like Boys in the Hood showed the pain and danger of the neighborhood, but Ice Cube and DJ Pooh wanted to show another side of that same world. Their idea was simple but powerful. People in the hood did not spend every second running from bullets. They laughed, talked trash, chased girls, argued with parents, borrowed money, sat on porches, and turned normal neighborhood drama into comedy. That is what made Friday feel different. It was not trying to deny the violence around the community because Debo, Big Worm, and the final fight still bring real danger into the story. But the movie reminded viewers that life in the hood also had humor, personality, routine, and friendship. That was the secret strength of Friday. It took a place Hollywood often showed as only dark and made it human, funny, loud, and unforgettable. Secret 2. A lot of the movie came from real life. One of the reasons Friday still feels so natural is that it was not built like a normal studio comedy. Ice Cube has said that much of the movie came from real things, real people, and real situations from his own neighborhood. Craig getting fired on his day off was inspired by a story connected to Cube's cousin, and Smokey was partly inspired by DJ Pooh's past experiences. That matters because the characters do not feel like random jokes written in an office. They feel like people someone actually knew. The loud father, the nosy neighbor, the broke friend, the bully everybody fears, the girl everyone talks about, and the local dealer who treats the block like his business. Friday works because it has the rhythm of a real street. People walk in and out of the day like they belong there. The secret is that the movie's world feels so small because it is personal. It is one block, one Friday, one group of people, but behind them is a whole lifetime of memories. Secret 3. Ice Cube wanted a hood classic, not just a funny movie. When Ice Cube worked on Friday, he was not just trying to make a quick comedy. He wanted to create what he later described as a hood classic, the kind of movie people could watch over and over again. That goal changed the whole shape of the film. Friday does not rely on a complicated plot. The story is almost ridiculously simple. Craig loses his job, sits outside with Smokey, gets dragged into a drug money problem, and has to face Debo before the day ends. But that simplicity is exactly why the movie became so rewatchable. Every character has a moment. Every small line feels quotable. Every neighbor adds something to the block. The secret is that Friday is built almost like a hangout movie. You are not only watching a story, you are spending time with people. That is why fans can replay it hundreds of times. The plot does not get old because the real entertainment is the atmosphere, the timing, the faces, and the feeling of being on that porch. Secret 4. Chris Tucker was paid very little for an iconic role. Smokey became one of the most unforgettable comedy characters of the 1990s. But Chris Tucker did not become rich from that role. Years later, Tucker said he was paid about $10,000 for Friday. That sounds shocking now because Smokey became the heart of the movie. His fast-talking, wild reactions, nervous energy, and chemistry with Ice Cube helped turn Friday into a cult classic. But at the time, the film was small, the budget was tight, and nobody knew it would live for decades. Tucker has said he did not care about the money then, he wanted the opportunity. That is what makes the story so crazy. One of the funniest performances in black comedy history came from a young actor taking a low-paid chance on a small movie. Friday helped make Tucker a star, and soon after he moved into bigger films like Rush Hour. But the role that made millions of people quote him started with a paycheck that was tiny compared to the cultural impact he created. Secret 5. Ice Cube only wanted Chris Tucker as Smokey. Smokey could have been a completely different character if the studio had gotten its way. Ice Cube has said that people tried to push other comedians for the role, but he was locked in on Chris Tucker. That decision changed the entire movie. Smokey is not just the funny friend. He is the engine of the film. Craig is calmer, more grounded, and often reacts to the madness around him, while Smokey brings the chaos. Tucker made the character feel like a human firecracker, loud, scared, slick, guilty, hilarious, and somehow lovable even when he is the reason everything goes wrong. If another actor had played him, Friday might have still been funny, but it probably would not have had the same electricity. The secret is that the casting of Smokey was not random luck. Ice Cube saw something specific in Tucker: speed, energy, timing, and a voice that could make even small lines explode. That one casting choice helped define the whole franchise. Secret 6. F. Gary Gray was making his first feature film, Friday Feels, so confident that it is easy to forget F. Gary Gray was making his feature directorial debut. Before that, he was mainly known for music videos, including work with Ice Cube. That background actually helped the movie. Friday has the timing of a comedy, but it also has the rhythm of a music video. The soundtrack, the street movement, the way characters enter the frame, the colors, the cars, and the feeling that every person on the block has their own style. Gray was still young, but he understood how to make the neighborhood feel alive without turning the movie into a heavy drama. The secret is that Friday became a launchpad not only for actors, but also for a director who would later make films like Set It Off, The Italian Job, Straight Outta Compton, and The Fate of the Furious. A small comedy about one day on one block helped introduce a filmmaker who would eventually direct massive Hollywood productions. Secret 7. The real houses became part of the legend. One reason Friday feels so authentic is that it was not built entirely inside a fake sitcom-style world. The movie used real Los Angeles locations, including the now famous houses on West 126th Street. Craig's house and Smokey's house became almost as iconic as the characters themselves. The setting is simple: a porch, a street, a few neighbors, some passing cars, and people watching everything from their yards. But that simplicity is exactly what makes it feel real. The street does not look like a polished movie set. It looks like a place where people actually live, argue, gossip, and waste time on a hot afternoon. Over the years, the filming locations became fan destinations, with people visiting just to stand near the homes and take pictures. The secret is that Friday turned an ordinary residential block into pop culture history. It proved that you do not need giant sets or expensive locations to create a world people remember forever. Secret 8. Bye Felicia was almost nothing at first. One of the most famous things to come from Friday is the line, "Bye Felicia," but the wild secret is that it was not written like some giant catchphrase. It was a small throwaway moment, a quick dismissal of a character who annoys Craig and Smokey. In the movie, Felicia is not even a major part of the plot. She appears, asks for things, gets brushed off, and leaves. But somehow that tiny line escaped the movie and became much bigger than the scene itself. Years later, "Bye Felicia" turned into a mainstream phrase used to dismiss someone annoying, irrelevant, or not worth your time. It appeared in memes, television, interviews, and everyday speech. That is what makes Friday so powerful culturally. The movie did not just create big jokes. Even its smallest lines had life. A tiny moment from a low-budget comedy became one of the most recognizable pop culture phrases of the last few decades. Secret 9. Chris Tucker's exit changed the whole franchise. Smokey was such a huge part of Friday that many fans expected Chris Tucker to return for the sequels, but he never did. That absence became one of the biggest what-ifs in the entire franchise. Tucker later explained that he did not want to keep playing the same character and wanted to move on to other movies. Ice Cube has also said that Tucker's personal and religious reasons played a part. Whatever the full reason, the effect was massive. Next Friday and Friday After Next had to build a new comic rhythm without Smokey, bringing in Mike Epps as Day-Day and changing the energy of the series. The sequels have their fans, but the original has something they could never fully recreate: the Craig and Smokey chemistry. The secret is that Friday did not just lose a character when Tucker left. It lost the nervous, fast-talking chaos that made the first movie feel so alive. His absence became part of the legend. Secret 10. The funniest movie had a serious anti-gun message. Friday is remembered as a comedy, but its final act carries a much more serious message. For most of the movie, Craig is treated like someone who avoids conflict. Debo terrorizes the neighborhood, Smokey creates problems, Big Worm brings danger, and Craig spends the day getting pushed into situations he never asked for. But when the final confrontation comes, the movie does something important. Craig's father tells him not to use a gun. The message is not that violence is good. The message is that picking up a gun does not automatically make someone a man. Craig has to face Debo without turning the situation into a shooting. Ice Cube later pointed to that scene as one of the reasons the first Friday is more impactful than the sequels. The secret is that the movie hides its lesson inside the laughter. After all the jokes, smoke, insults, and chaos, Friday ends by saying something real about pride, fear, masculinity, and survival.